Peace be upon you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are doing very well. Hello and welcome to our today's story, The Crezy of Amira, the Iraqi. Our story is about two young people, Amira and Azam. Amira is an Iraqi girl. She immigrated from Iraq to Syria with her family back when there was instability in Iraq. Azam is a Syrian guy. He's about 23 years old. Azam was a law student. But due to his poor living conditions, he had to leave education and work as a taxi driver. One day, at 3 p.m., and after he had come home, his mobile rang. He picked up the phone to hear a feminine soft voice asking, "Are you Azam?" "Yes, I am," answered Azam. "Who's that?" "Toot, toot, toot." Yup, you guessed well. It's Amira, the Iraqi girl. Azam wanted to know the speaker. You know, maybe it was a customer. So he tried to call the number, but no answer. He tried once and twice, nobody's there. So he postponed the matter to the following day. Next day, at the same hour, Azam called the number again, which was a telephone number, by the way, because Amira did not have a mobile. And there she was. Amira picked up the phone. "Peace be upon you." "On you too." "You called yesterday asking about Azam." "Well, I am Azam. What do you want?" "How did you get my number? Who are you? Blah, blah, blah." You know how young people act. They started chatting together, getting to know each other, and even having a crush on one another, actually. Amira knew Azam very well and called him on purpose. Azam, on the other side, did not know anything about her. Therefore, he felt curious to know many things about her. He recognized her Iraqi accent. However, he was puzzled by the Syrian number. So he asked her, "Do you live in Iraq?" "No, I live in Syria," said Amira. "Well, what's your name? Your address, anything?" The girl was very reticent. She hardly gave him any information. They talked and talked and talked for a couple of days, a week, turned to a month, and still Azam was too ignorant of much about this girl, like her full name, her family, her address, everything. Azam tried all means to know anything, even by himself, but to no avail. So he became angry and desperate. It's time to put an end to this farce. Finally, he decided to take a firm decision. Our friends were not going on an ordinary dating story. Buckle up, my friends, for we are going on a story not for the faint of heart. Hit the like button and come with me to see what's coming. Indeed, next call, Azam informed Amira. "By the end of this call, I should have known all about you, or else consider our relationship as over. Therefore, stop operating incognito and let us meet." Azam explained to Amira that he was fully content to see her from a distance, for he didn't want more than a glimpse. He suggested that he pass by her on the road or in the market at a distance of 100 meters and promised not to come any closer. No, it's difficult," said Amira. "How difficult? What's so difficult about it?" "Fine. What about me crossing in front of your house, and you open the door for a moment so I can see you, then you close your door? I won't hurt you or rape you or something." "No, it doesn't work," Amira answered. "Well, as you wish." Azam hanged up. He was fed up with her at that point, while Amira was shocked. She felt the danger of losing him seriously this time. So she called again, begging and apologizing. Azam was very mad at her. He told her, "We've been together for more than 2 months now, yet still I've not seen your face. I don't know who am I talking to. This is nonsense." Azam was throwing assumptions, trying to fill in the gaps. So he told Amira, "Well, it only makes sense in one case, that you are an ordinary girl." He didn't want to say not beautiful directly to her. "And hiding yourself and avoiding me because you're afraid to lose me because of it. If so, don't worry, my dear. I'm satisfied, fully satisfied with your thoughts, your behavior, and your dealing with me. Honestly, I'm content with you, regardless of your appearance. I accept you anyway, whatever the way you look." Guess what, guys? This trail failed too. Azam was super angry and desperate with Amira this time. So he informed Amira, "This is our last call then. Never call me again, because you've ruined my life already." At that very moment, Amira said, "Okay, wait. I have an idea. I give you my photo." "What?" said Azam. "I give you my photo," Amira confirmed. Oh, people, a girl does not give her photo. It's too difficult. Azam was puzzled. He thought, hmm, she will hand me a photograph, since she doesn't have a mobile phone as she claimed. So it's so likely that if she gave a photograph of any other gorgeous girl. But he accepted anyway. Amira told him to come next evening at 8 p.m. to a specific address, and she will throw the photograph in a bag from the roof. Of course, at this point, Azam suggested to Amira to cut short this hassle and reveal her real face, and of course, Amira refused once more. "No problem. At your command, Miss Amira." The next evening, Azam went to the desired address, fixing his eye on the house as he approached, hoping to catch a glimpse of Amira. Suddenly, a bag was thrown. He picked up the bag while turning left and right to make sure no one had noticed him. Azam took a corner and pulled the photograph out of the bag to see the most beautiful girl in the world. Azam gave a surprised but cold look at the photograph. He wrapped it rapidly and put it back into the bag in a mechanical movement, for he thought that this photograph could not be hers. It must belong to Beauty Queen. "Oh no, it can't be the same girl I know and talk to every day. There is no possibility," he thought. Azam called Amira immediately and said, "Listen, never call me again in your entire life. I don't want to see your face, nor I want you any more. You're a big liar. You are so and so and so." And he hanged up. As Azam tells, when he returned home, he checked the photograph many times, but still could not believe it. Because as you will see, guys, later in this story, that no matter how much we speak about this beautiness, we can't describe it actually. Amira was broken-hearted. She called him over and over again. Azam answered at last, acting on the saying, "Follow the liar to the front door." Amira swore to God that she's the very girl in the photograph. Yet Azam ended the call. No matter how hard she tried to convince him, he did not believe her. for he could not imagine this incredible beauty talking to him in person. Although Azam is a handsome guy too. Azam pondered Amira for about a week. Then he told her, "Okay, you're saying you're the girl in the photo, aren't you?" "I swear I am," said Amira while cried heartily. "Prove it then." Peace out. She called again. Azam said, "Enough. I either meet you face to face or we don't carry on. You're a liar. That photo is not yours, it's some other girl's photo. You're trying to deceive me. I told you from the very beginning, whatever the way you look, you don't have to go through this adventure or this lie. I accept you the way you are. Why did you lie to me?" "Okay, let us meet," Amira said lastly. Azam assured Amira once again that he was fully content to see her from a distance. "No," replied Amira, "it doesn't work from afar." "How then?" "It works up close?" asked Azam. "Exactly," said Amira. "We can't meet afar." "Why?" asked Azam. "Just because," answered Amira. Let's see how well they plan their date. Amira told Azam, "Tomorrow at 10 p.m. Okay. I'll let the door open for you to come in silent and go all the way up to the roof." "What?" "You heard me. When you reach the roof, wait there until I come." What's happening, guys? A man suggests to a woman to meet her from a distance, yet she refuses and invites him to her own house. God be with Azam in these moments, because he was so confused and went on thinking. Maybe she was setting up something nasty. Maybe it was a trap. I don't blame him, guys. He thought that there might be something not good. But let's say he liked her and wanted to see the end of it. Curiosity alone is quite enough to move him. Acting on that, he took his gun next evening and left his house, heading to Amira's place. When Azam arrived to Amira's neighborhood, he could hardly see her house. There were no lights. Amira turned them off so that nobody could see him when he enters. Come with me, guys, to see what happened. Azam opened the door, walked the passage, climbed up the stairs, reached the roof, and he walked in a straight line to the last point on the roof, and sat there, still confused and cautious, amidst the dark. He sat there expectantly. Of course, there are 1,000 thoughts that come to a person's mind in such a situation. As Azam tells the story, he said, "I sat there for about 2 or 3 minutes, till I saw a shadow, then a figure approaching. Amira standing on the top of the stairs. Azam saw her for the first glimpse, and his heart jumped. It was her, he said in his heart. To her surprise, she was the same girl in the photo. He couldn't believe it, but it was proven now that she's that gorgeous girl in the photograph, and even more beautiful in reality, as we will see. As Azam tells, Amira climbed up the stairs bit by bit. Her head appeared first, till her feet appeared lastly. Focus with me, guys, here on the details because they are of a high significance. When she reached the top, She stood still in the darkness. Because, as you know, when someone moves from light to darkness, they can't see at first until the pupil dilates so that it can receive the slightest possible amount of light. Azam understood that, so he crackled his finger to lead her to his place. Yet Amira took the opposite direction, so he crackled again. Amira turned towards him this time. She responded to his sign and walked with light steps towards him. Still, Azam was careful and suspicious till that very moment. But oh my, what an eye-catching beautiness! The world's beauty queen was walking towards me, Azam tells. She walked one step, two steps, three steps, and now it's time for the awaited moment. The two lovers were standing facing each other. When she became so close to him, Azam reached out and grabbed Amira's hand. When I halted her hand, Azam says, my whole perspective has changed. Poor girl, she was shivering so hard. What's the matter? I left her hands thinking that it was me that caused her uneasiness. I asked her to sit down and relax. She sat down facing me. She was crying hard and shaking. I took pity on her, to the extent that made me say to her, Amira, leave if that makes you feel any better. Go. Don't be afraid like that. You can go. I don't want anything from you anymore. I saw you. I don't want to touch you or something. Please go. Yet she couldn't stop crying hardly and shivering. There must be something else then. I told her, calm down. I'm leaving, okay? It's okay, stop crying. Suddenly, she reached her hand out and put it on my face. Guys, I myself, not Azam, will stay shocked for another 65 years because of this attitude. Seriously, Azam says, she began rubbing my face. Then she reached her other hand out and put it on my face too, and continued rubbing my face. God, where Azam wandered in his imagination at that moment. Do you know, folks, how a blind person rubbing someone they love? That's exactly what had happened. Amira was blind. That's why she's been hiding all the time and avoiding Azam. Because the moment Azam would know about her blindness, he might change his attitude towards her or break up with her. That's what she thought. Let's see, guys, if she was right or not. Azam was in a bad situation. It's a bitter truth to swallow, no doubt. He was so confused. What should he say in such a moment? Azam said to Amira, is that the reason why you had been avoiding me all the time? Did you really think that I will leave you when I know that you're blind? I'm full ready to go down and ask your hand for marriage right now, and after I learned about your critical condition. Now stop crying, please, my dear, and go if you like, and never be concerned about me abandoning you. There's no possibility for that to happen. Amira was crying heartily, because she was 100% sure that Azam will leave her once he knows the truth. But she was wrong, for it's true that God took the blessing of sight from her, but instead, God had given Amira the blessing of beauty. Let's see what happened after the special date. Azam started visiting Amira and getting to know her family members. But unfortunately, time was too short. This tranquility hadn't lasted much, because after a while a civil war broke out and some turbulent events took place. Therefore, Azam did not have time and couldn't ask her hand for marriage under such circumstances. There were shelling and shooting everywhere. People were running in all directions seeking refuge, because the bombing was too heavy, and one could never know at any moment they might die from shrapnel or a missile. Azam and Amira were no exception. They took two opposite directions, each seeking safety in some place where there was no war. Later on, Azam tried to contact Amira on her telephone number, but there was no answer. He even tried to return to the village they used to live in the hope of managing to see her and making sure she was all right. But he couldn't. It was too dangerous there. It seemed that Amira and her family had left the village too, which was expected, because she had told Azam in advance that they are going to move to Al Busaira town, which locates in Deir el Zor too, where our story happened. 2 months later, the situation was settling down again and people were returning back to their homes. Azam was on the top of the list for sure. When he arrived to Amira's neighborhood, a shock had awaited him. Amira's house was fully destroyed. When he got closer, he saw blood and corpses everywhere. The scene was horrible. Azam wanted to know what had happened, but there was no one around, nothing but the traces of destruction. He could barely find any one or collect any valid information. People told him that the Iraqi family had been wiped out. Can you imagine, guys, how hard the situation of Azam could be during these moments? Of course, he could not accept it and hold on to the last beam of hope. He kept asking and inquiring, still had hope, till he came across an old lady who was one of their neighbors. She told Azam that this house was bombed and so date, and both parents were killed as a result. But their blind daughter fled to the camping where her aunt lives. Which camping? Asked Azam. I don't know, answered the old lady. All I know is that the blind girl fled to the camping. Poor blind girl. She's been left with no one but her aunt. That kind girl. The lady went on praising Amira. Azam embarked his searching journey. There were 3 or 4 camps to search in. He tried to go to these campings and collect information by himself. And you know how hard this task could be, because it's too difficult to know who's inside these campings and who's not. However, our friend Azam left everything in his life and devoted himself to search for his beloved Amira. So, he went to the first camping. It took him about 10 to 15 days of constant searching among thousands of families, but to no avail. It was so much like looking for a needle in a haystack. He went to the second camping, third camping, which costed him a lot of time, effort, and money at the same time. That's because Sam had given some money to a stranger in return for bringing him some information about Amira, whether she was alive or not. Indeed, That stranger had been searching for Amira for a couple of days. Then he returned to Azam with some good news. You're asking about Amira, who's residing with her grandmother in it? Asked the stranger. Yes, and she's a blind girl, added the stranger. Yes, she is, answered Sam. This girl is alive, said the stranger. Very well. How can I see her? That's too difficult. Please, help me. Sorry, it's so hard because it's illegal. Azam explained the situation to him. He told him that he used to know her family very well and they were planning to get married, but the sudden war hindered them. The stranger said, if you want to marry her, that's a different matter. I'll help you, but it costs you a lot of money. It's okay, I'll pay you whatever it costs, replied Azam. With consideration, guys, that Azam had nothing, and the bad circumstances of war had left him jobless. It costs you $5,000 to take her out of the camping, the stranger informed him. Poor Azam. You're asking a guy who had absolutely nothing to give you $5,000. Azam sold his car, his only source for living, for about 3,500 to $4,000, and he borrowed the rest of the money from here and there until he had managed to collect the whole sum. After that, Azam met the stranger. He told him that the required amount of money was now ready, and asked him to take Amira out of the camping now. The man told Azam that it was not that simple. He said, we will smuggle the girl out of the camp under the pretext that she's going to get married. Then we will hand her over to you in such and such place. No problem, replied Azam. Give me the money. I won't give you any. You gave me Amira, I give you money. Very well. The man met two smugglers and made the plan with them. They agreed to meet Azam in a specific place tonight, but they couldn't tell at which hour specifically, so he had to wait, because they didn't know how much this mission might take them. Azam told them, no worries, take your time. I'll be here waiting for you till morning if necessary. Azam waited and waited for them, calling them from time to time to see what was happening and when were they coming back. And every time they answered, we're about to finish. We're coming back, stay there. Let us go now and see what was happening with those two smugglers. When they went to Amira's grandmother's place and told her grandmother about Azam and what he was after, Amira explained to her that she knew him very well. He wanted to marry her and she trusts him. The grandmother approved, of course. She said to her granddaughter, my daughter, trust in God. You're blind and you've not married yet. Go on your way. Amira went out walking with these two smugglers. They left the camp and walked a long distance. The two smugglers were staring at Amira the whole way. As you know, she's a gorgeous girl, without going any further. Despite the fact that she was blind, as I said, she had an eye-catching beauty. They were taken by her beauty, so their intentions had changed. What to do now? By God Almighty, I will not hand her over to that so-called Azam, even if he gives me the money of the world, one of the smugglers said to the other. They were arguing and discussing Amira's fate on the side of the road while she was waiting in the car without her being aware of any of what was going on. What will you do then? She's a helpless blind girl, replied the other smuggler. I won't do her any harm. Then what? I want to marry her, said the first smuggler. Do you think that I will rape her or something? Still wrong. We promised the guy. By God, I will marry this girl and I will not give this girl up to Azam or anyone else. And the poor girl did not have the slightest idea of what was waiting for her. They argued a little, but at the end of the discussion, the first smuggler told the second to get out of it and never say a word. They drove the car to a very remote location. The first smuggler took Amira to his home and introduced her to his grandmother, who told her about Amira's condition. He told her, I will leave this girl here for a couple of days because her fiancé is facing a problem. I will tell you her story later. The grandmother invited Amira to sit down. The poor girl was sad and crying because she came out on the paces of meeting Azam, but there was no Azam. Now let us see how did the smuggler handle the situation. He said to Azam, I'm sorry to tell you, but they shot at us while we were leaving, and Amira was killed as a result. I'm wondering how had Azam felt at that moment. How come? Asked Azam. Yes, that's what happened. God bless her. I couldn't do anything to save her. I was shot too and fled, 'cause they're looking for me. I'm wanted. Leave me alone, please. Here Azam gave up. He ended the call. He had nothing to do now. The smugglers are traders of human beings. This is their cup of tea. Poor guy. Azam did not know what to do. He couldn't digest what he had just heard. She was killed? She's dead now? That's it? That simple? So he called the smuggler again, but the latter said to him, don't call me again and get me in more troubles, please. I already had an attempt to smuggle a girl and she died during the process. It's my responsibility. I'm in danger now. Do whatever you like. You could even go to the camping by yourself. Go see her corpse, but get me out of it. Indeed, Azam went to the camp because he would not believe it until he see it with his own eyes. When he arrived to the guards at the gates, one of them asked Azam immediately, what do you want? He told him about Amira. However, the guards said, oh, that girl who was shot today? It seemed that the smuggler had woven a tight plot. He passed by the guards, gave them some money, and asked them to tell a guy who might come asking about a girl that she was killed today. Azam felt depressed at hearing that. There was nothing to do then. He left away, going back to his village where his family lives. Poor guy. Later on, Azam, what can I tell you about Azam's condition? It's not that he lost his mind, but he gave up on everything. He isolated himself completely. No eating, no drinking. He gave in, he gave in on life completely, detached from reality. After Amira, his life has over. It's zero. Now, let's see what did that cunning tell Amira. Of course, she asked him about Sam and why hadn't she met him yet. The smuggler said to her, Azam was shooted while he was waiting for us outside the camp. So I didn't know what to do with you. You couldn't go back to the camping because they will put you in jail, nor could you go to Iraq because you doesn't know anyone there. This poor helpless girl, she doesn't have anyone at all. This is a very difficult situation for an ordinary person, let alone a blind, lonely girl. For she can't go walking along on the roads, roaming in a strange city. She gets familiar with the house in a short while, but to go by herself to new places, that could be too dangerous. He said to her, I took pity on you. I'm a good person and I helped you. So I'm asking your hand for marriage. And here's my grandmother witnessing what I'm saying. He asked her grandma to speak to Amira and to convince her. However, Amira was not comfortable with the matter, for if God forbid Amira from the blessing of sight, he had bestowed upon her the blessing of insight. She felt there was something wrong. After a couple of days, and after some pressure from his side, of course, Amira accepted his proposal. She was left with no choice. But in the very day of their wedding, Amira had been crying heavily all day. The smuggler told her to calm down and to forget about Azam. However, by evening, Amira had left. Rushing out into the streets, she was walking on the main street along the walls, didn't know to where she was heading. Imagine her situation, roaming in the night all alone. She couldn't knock on anyone's door asking for help because it was late and there was no one on the street in that cold winter night. Mira went on groping and stumbling. Oh God, she had no one to help her during these tough times but the Almighty. After Amira had crossed a long distance, a car came finally, which was a taxi. The man in the car saw her, so he slowed down the car, of course, to see what's the matter with this girl who was alone walking on the streets in such late hour. He asked her, "Where are you going?" "I'm going in this direction," answered Amira. "There are mines ahead. Get in the car." "Don't be afraid. I get you wherever you like," that man told her, but Amira refused. However, this chivalrous man insisted, for he knew Amira needed help. So he got out of the car and assured her not to be afraid and that he will take her to any place she wants. Indeed, Amira got in the car. On the way, the gentleman asked Amira many questions about where she was going, where's her family, why she was walking all alone in that darkness. And also, he asked her, "Sorry, but are you blind?" "Yes, I am blind," she answered. "Don't cry, poor girl. Tell me your story. Tell me what you need, and I do it for you." She told him, "I don't know anyone. I have no one." "Fine. Where are you going?" the man asked. "I don't know," Amira answered. "Okay, I take you to my family then. You stay with my wife and daughters." Indeed, this good man took Amira to his own house. She was afraid, of course, of getting into troubles as before. The man told his wife and daughters that he had no idea or he didn't know anything about Amira. He saw her in the street accidentally and brought her home. That's it. He told them to ask her about her story after Amira being restituted to them. Indeed, she sat with them and told them all about her. After she had told him her full story, The man asked her if she could remember anything Azam had mentioned, a house, an address, anything might help, as a clue. Amira said, yes, I remember that he told me they might move to a village, but I can't remember the name of it. Because, as we said earlier in the story, Amira is from Iraq, so she was not familiar with the area and the names of the villages there. Therefore, the girl started to mention the names of all possible villages to Amira in an attempt to make her recall the name of the required village. They tried all means and even used the Google GPS, coming across all villages, village by village, till Amira eventually remembered the name of the village. The next day, one of the girls went with her brother to this village to find out whether Sam was there or not. They asked people there about him and told them his full name, of course, and began inquiring about him. And thank God he was there. People guided them to his house, which was a far one. They got in the car and headed to the house. When they arrived, they parked their car and got out of it. They were hesitant, of course, for they hadn't known the household and the household hadn't known them. They knocked on the door anyway, and an old lady opened the door. They greeted her and asked if this is Sam's house. She confirmed and invited them in. They got in and told her, "Thank you, we were just passing by and needed some water." And they started chatting to her, the girl and the lady, who was Azam's mother, by the way. During the conversation, the girl glimpsed a guy with a long beard and missing hair sitting on a bed. The girl expected him to be Azam, so she asked the mother, "Who's that guy sitting on the bed?" The woman told her that it was her son Azam. The girl asked her if he was all right, because it was clear that there was something wrong with him. He looked depressed. The woman answered, "My son had lost his mind." "Why?" asked the girl. The mother said, He loved a girl once, an Iraqi girl named Amira. They used to be neighbor, but this girl was shooted during the war, and since then, this is his status. He's alone all the time, roaming in the wilderness. He's not crazy, though." At that point, the girl was in tears. Azam's mom told her to calm down and drink some water, yet the girl asked to leave, for she was touched by their story, now that she could see the whole image. She took pity on both lovers. So they left and got in the car and left the whole village, returning to Amira. Amira received them, asking about the news. They told her that they found Azam. "He's alive." Amira was in tears. She felt so happy and relieved. "But unfortunately, he lost his mind," added the girl. "Since the day he was told that she was shooted in the camping, he went crazy." Now the situation became clear. Amira understood everything, and she was able to see the whole image now. That cheetah told Azam that Amira was killed, and he told Amira that Azam was killed. That way, he cheated both. Amira told him to take her right away to Azam. They told her, "We can't, it's late now." "I go by myself then," said she. They prevented her, of course. It was a hard situation. They were all crying in sympathy with her. Amira insisted so much to go, but they prevented her and promised to go with the first break of dawn, because they had a long way to go. Indeed, next day they went out early in the morning, all of them, heading to Sam's village. When they arrived, they met the family, greeted them, and told them, "We've some good news to you. Amira wasn't killed. She's alive here with us and wants to see your son, Azam." They were so happy to hear that, of course. Azam's mom asked her children to call Azam, yet Amira stopped her. She told her that she wants to go to him by herself. Azam was sitting alone in a field 2 meters ahead. Out of service. One of the girls accompanied Amira till she was only 50 meters away from Azam's place. People of the village were all there witnessing these moments. Amira continued walking till she became few steps behind Azam. He was facing the other side, but when Amira approached him, Azam felt the existence of somebody around, and she felt it too. So she called, "Azam, Azam, Azam." Let's pause here, guys, and see the scene from Azam's perspective. Azam tells, "When I heard Amira's voice while I was taking a nap, I opened my eyes a little to see myself in a green place, which was indeed the same place he was sitting in, and hearing Amira's voice. For a moment, I thought I was in heaven, because according to him, Amira was dead. She's no more in this world." So he continues, "When I heard her voice, I thought I became in heaven. When she called again, I turned around and looked. I saw Amira. Yes, it is Amira." He jumped and ran towards her. Imagine the romantic, sad scene, guys. All people were watching them. Both Amira and Sam were drenched in tears. People were so sympathized with them, to the extent that the elders of the village decided to hold the marriage of their two young lovers before the end of that day, for they deserved a happy ending after all that they've gone through. Indeed, they invited people of the village, cooked food, and made a feast. As Sam returned to his normal position, he shaved his beard and cut his hair, a handsome young man he turned to be again. Azam and Amira got married and lived happily ever after, just like what happens in fairy tales. Of course, we salute Azam and Amira who are listening to us now. Indeed, it's a beautiful story that touched us all. The narrator even says that he re-recorded the story 4 times until he was finally able to tell it, because he was very sympathetic with them. We greet them, me and all the followers of the channel. I think they would like to greet you as well. Azam and Amira, we send you our regards once again. This way we come to an end of our story today, my friends. I hope it got your welcoming and admiration. If so, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to be notified of all our new coming stories. And we meet in a new story. And guys, don't forget to forgive. my half English, half American accent. Bye bye.